And I am back. I'm so back. I never actually thought I would say that I missed you all, but I definitely missed you. And I love all the birthday wishes that I got while I was away. I was in a whole other country living the dream and living the life. And then I came back and every time I come back, I always get a little congested and things. But but I got my handy dandy tea. In my cup that starts with a D. Okay, I'm gonna stop playing with y'all. But so glad to be back. I am on early. I know I said I was going to be on here at 9. You can just rewatch it back at 9. I'm actually going to be going over and doing another podcast at 9. And you guys know I usually don't stream on Wednesdays. So this is Wild Card Wednesday. And I have to prepare a little bit before I go over there. So I have to do the show a little bit early. I'd rather do it than not do it. And I'd rather be early than to be late. So I think you guys should just applaud me just for that. We have a lot to talk about though. The show is going to be loaded. It's going to be jam packed because I've been gone for a week and I haven't done a show. So you know how I do it. I'm already chatty Cathy. But we have so much to discuss from the Bills falling, the Chiefs. The Chiefs looked good the last game, but was that a front? What are we doing here? I should have thrown in the Eagles and what's going over there in their camp. Then we have, the rejection of Bad Bunny for a Super Bowl. I'm not surprised there, and I can understand, but I'm gonna get into that in a minute. We have NC State. Their lawsuit for NIL compensation has been dismissed. Totally forgot to bring that to you guys the last time that I was on here. We have the NCAA with new gambling rules. We have a WNBA champion, which didn't see that one necessarily coming the way that it did. So, woof, and so much more. But I have to bring you in the proper way by doing our introduction. So make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing right now. Do not go anywhere. Like the video now. Like the video right now. And I'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Daily Dose with Des. This is Wild Card Wednesday. Admit it. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it loud. Got your feeling so proud. This is how we do it now. Daily Dose with Des. Got you coming back for more. Welcome back. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right on in because we have lots to talk about. Lots to talk about and discuss. And we're going to talk about the champions of the WNBA, which is the Las Vegas Aces. My last show, I did say how I thought that it would be a good series, and it was a decent series. They did sweep the Phoenix Mercury, and I just think that the Phoenix Mercury just didn't have enough to sustain, clearly, because they lost. But I also did tell you guys, the Las Vegas Aces, when they get into this finals, this championship mode, they just turn into different players. They just turn it up a notch. Becky does her thing. I believe that she is one of the best coaches when it comes to coaching and getting the championship done. And that's exactly what they did. They showed us what the Las Vegas Aces have been previously. Although they had the little slump in the beginning of the season, that didn't mean anything. Clearly and obviously, Asia Wilson played lights out. Chelsea Gray lights out. They just had so many. They moved as a cohesive unit. And as we all know, when you play complementary sports, you tend to get the results that you are looking for. So congratulations are in order to the Las Vegas Aces for winning the 2025 WNBA championship again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So I'm super excited, and I thought this was going to come. I did think the Phoenix Mercury was going to win at least one game, but no, they had it on lock. They came close. I feel like two of the games, they came within like 2 points. Almost every game, really, they came within like 1 or 2 points, 3 points. Like, they weren't blown out, which is why I think it was a good series. I just don't think they had enough to propel over that hump to really get them to, I don't think they were ever going to take a lead. I just think that to at least get them one game. But nonetheless, the WNBA season is over. They're going to be moving into unrivaled. And then, college basketball is coming around the corner. So you guys know what I be doing and how I get down with college. But I did want to start off the show with a celebratory moment for the Las Vegas Aces. Okay? Boom. Had to get that one out of the way. Okay, we're going to move into current. Currently, MLB playoffs is underway. Again, I talked about this previously on the shows. Please go back and watch if you haven't caught up with my thoughts here. And for the most part, I've been kind of right and on target. I definitely thought that the Detroit and Seattle game was going to be a lot closer. Well, series, excuse me, was going to be a lot closer because I felt like both teams were really fighting for something and really moving forward to really have a staple within their organizations within the MLB. And right now we have the Toronto Blue Jays, and they are facing the Seattle Mariners. And right now the Blue Jays lead the series 2-0. You have the Los Angeles Dodgers. I was about to say Las Vegas. It's going to be Las Vegas A's, but the Los Angeles Dodgers facing the Milwaukee Brewers, and LA is leading that series 2-0. So I did get to see a little bit of the Cubs game, both games, and they were doing really well. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know where Milwaukee just like turned up, and they changed, they spun the narrative and changed the trajectory of that series and then end up winning that series. So I was like, whoa, wait, huh? I didn't see that. I really thought that the Cubs were going to get to the next round. I really did. I really, really did. But Milwaukee said, no, we got something for you. We have something better for you. We are coming for you. And that's exactly what they did. Although I do not think that they were quite prepared for the Dodgers. I did say that I felt like the Dodgers were, even though they were coming into that wild card, I'm like, the Dodgers are not to be slept on. Like I said, they have Shohei Ohtani, and you are never going to sleep on that. You're never going to sleep over. I just felt as though the Dodgers were the one team that I felt like was going to make it all the way. You couldn't sleep on them, and I don't know. I felt like the other teams were really, really good, but I don't know, something about the Dodgers. I just felt like they were going to make it at least to the finals. And right now they're on track. They are on track to make it to the series, the World Series. So I don't know, Milwaukee. Y'all need to pull something out the hat. The same way you did with Chicago. Just pull it out the hat and change it up. It will be crazy if Milwaukee comes back and takes this series. Absolutely crazy. But I don't know. Unless the Dodgers just show up and they start playing like hot garbage, it's hard for me to say that I'm going to say the Brewers are going to win that series. I think, like I said before too, the Blue Jays, they have something to prove. They've been on a drought. They've been in this situation before. So I think that they look really well. I am rooting for Seattle though, because you always want to root for that underdog sometimes, and that has some history and really trying to make a name for themselves. So yes, I am rooting for Seattle, but I feel like the Blue Jays they're already looking like the stronger team, and I felt like they were the stronger team. Obviously, coming in, they had the number one seed. So they are going to have to, again, do what Milwaukee needs to do and change the narrative. You gotta take the hat off and turn it around. But that's the one thing in baseball you can do. Baseball and hockey is the same way to me when it comes to the playoffs. Once you get into game like 3, 4, 5, that's when you see if that underdog is going to really change the current and to really turn it around. So I don't know. I know the Blue Jays and the Mariners play tonight, and then the Dodgers and the Brewers play tomorrow. So we shall see what it is looking like going into game 3. If both of those teams take the 3-0 lead, I kind of think it's over. Yeah, that's just my opinion, But it is great to see some new, fresh teams and faces in the playoffs for the MLB this year. I know for a long time we got used to seeing the same same teams over and over and over and over again. And it's kind of like NFL when people get tired of the same teams or whatever. But it's just like it's good to see some freshness going on. It's good to see some other faces. And if you can really pull off an upset with the Dodgers, I think that's going to be something crazy. It's going to be a sight to see there. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Athlos. Athlos. Yeah. This is the track and field event held by Serena Williams and her husband, Alexis. I think it's Ohana. I did bring up an article because I want to make sure that I was properly giving you guys the right information. Oh, shoot. Did I do away with it? I might have. Let me see. Because I want to make sure I get the proper thing here. Okay, so obviously everybody knows the GOAT Serena Williams. It did surprise me that she was doing a track and field event and not doing something with like tennis. I would have thought that there would have been some type of like women empowerment tennis thing, and maybe it's coming, I'm not sure. But I definitely was surprised to see that it was track and field for the competition. You know, a lot of the athletes are just coming off of Worlds, and some of our stars participated and some of them did not. I know that Melissa was saying that you may see her. She did, you know, opt in for it, but she actually did not run from my understanding. But, you know, we've seen our girl Tara. We've seen, who else? Who else did we see? Shelly Ann was basically a notable honorary. She got her crown and everything. So basically what this is that Serena Williams, she decided to fund an event. Her, like I said, her and her husband decided to fund this event, Athlos NYC, and it happened in the middle of Times Square. So it was beautiful. Like, can you imagine just like lights, camera, action? Like, there's no other place like Times Square. No matter what, no matter if you think that it's too many people, if you think it's hectic, if you think that it's boring, if you think that it's dirt, it doesn't matter. It's one of the most beautiful places in the United States, in my opinion, in terms of like lights, camera, action, like a big stage and everything. It's just like, boom. It's just like, I believe Madison Square Garden is one of the best arenas that you could ever be in. And that's just, again, that's my opinion. And you can feel free to agree or to disagree with it. But again, my opinion. So she had this event in New York City right before it got a little chilly, right before it got cold. So perfect timing. I would say perfect timing. Maybe a little tiring for those athletes who are, you know, all the athletes that are coming off Worlds, but you know, they're athletes, they train for it. And, you know, this event was not something that was super, in my opinion, super strenuous on them. So like, yeah, you're competing and everything, but is nothing compared to like the World Championship competition. So I feel like these, you know, these women came off and did really, really good. So she crowned several different athletes. And like I said, Shelly Ann Frazier was a notable and honorary crown with the crowning. And they had Tiffany crowns. Tiffany. I forgot to upload the picture here. But Tiffany. Okay, if you're going to do something, we're not going to give out medals. We're not going to give out medals. We're going to give out Tiffany and Company crowns. Do you know how much them crowns have to cost? I'm sure there's a partnership and things in it in any way. And of course, it's the Serena Williams. But like a crown. I love that. Okay. And when they did Shelly Ann Frazier, it was Long Live the Queen. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Like, it just was phenomenal. With, you know, seeing those crowns. I think they were gorgeous crowns. And, you know, just acknowledging and being able to say, you know, you are a crown and you are a queen within your sport, a queen within your craft, a queen just in general. I think that was just super duper important. And I'm going to read some stats here. So the Athlos event was founded again by Alexis. Her actually was founded by her husband and him. If you don't know who he is, he was actually the founder of Reddit, I believe, and then sold it or whatever. But they have a huge investment portfolio, as I said before. So this doesn't surprise me that they are continuing to, fund different ventures and things like that. So it's just that's just what they do, and I think I love that for them. But the fact that he is, he was at the pillar of this to really, create this and fund it and put Serena as the face. And obviously they're married, so they do it together. I think it was just awesome. And it basically says, who aim to create a platform that honors and celebrates women in sports, drawing inspiration from the excitement of the Olympics. And it says, Williams publicly supported the venture, making a statement that reads, don't doubt Alexis, to emphasize her confidence in the event and just how big it was going to be and how celebratory and how many people they were going to have involved. And I think they had an amazing turnout for it to be the first annual event, and just how grand it was and how beautiful the back scenes and back scenarios were. When you, as you look at the pictures, it's like so beautiful, like, wow, I can't believe this. And to make matters even better for this event, the event has been noted for its blend of track and field with entertainment, attracting celebrities and paying out significant prize money, with each winner respectfully and reportedly receiving $60,000 just for them being winners in their events. And again, this is a competition, and you want to win. Obviously, you want your crown and you want your check. So not only am I getting a crown, I'm getting a check. Sign me up. Sign me up. And of course, a lot of these athletes may not need the money, but why would you turn down $60,000 if you're gonna win? Why you wouldn't turn it down? You wouldn't turn it down. And a crown by Tiffany's. You're not. Come on. Why would you turn it down? But it was a great event nevertheless. I think a lot of the women that I saw looked beautiful. Tara, set even a higher number for a long jump. Like, she just is an incredible. And I think that seeing her come in this next year and seeing her getting ready for LA 28 is going to be phenomenal. So I do want to commend, Alexis and Serena for really getting this thing started and really celebrating women's sports. I would love to see it expand with other things like a tennis match, a volleyball match, some other things, some other events that you could put up in there. Wrestling, boxing. I would have loved to see Clarissa Shields in a boxing arena in the center of Times Square. Like, I'm pretty sure they have, what they're going to do coming in the next year. But I just wanted to highlight that and celebrate that because it's something that's big. It's something that's huge that's going on with women in sports. Moving right along. Okay, we're going to go into, I kind of skipped because I did WNBA and I should just kept with the basketball. But we're going to move into, we're going to do our last little basketball thing, I think. Yeah, we're going to do basketball. So you guys probably don't remember, but quite a few months ago, I did a video how NC State's basketball team back in the 18? Hold on, let me get it right. Yeah, so we're going to start again. NC State and their basketball team back in 1983. I don't know why I looked right at it and said something completely different. Okay, so the 1983 team, they were the championship team. They decided that they were going to file a lawsuit for NIL compensation. As you guys know, NIL compensation got approved and started a couple years ago. It did not always go back. Back then, they were getting bags of money in a McDonald's bag. They were sliding it across the table. They said, have your Big Mac. Make sure you're at practice on time. And thank you so much for signing with our team. Or they were just sliding the money or putting it in some type of Rolodex or something. They were sliding underneath the table and it was like this, thank you so much for signing with us. We're so happy to have you. You're going to make a lot and you're going to do great things here with our school. Allegedly. Okay. Don't be trying to sue me. Allegedly. And these players were like, well, we think that we deserve some NIL compensation now. You guys are still living and, boasting about our greatness back in 1983. we're still a part of it. And if you're going to still use us, you're still going to highlight us, you're still going to, have us be a part of your history, of your school and program history, then you need to pay us. And they filed a lawsuit. And this actually happened back in August of 2025. So this year, the judge said, dismissed, not happening. You're not getting any. You're not getting none. You're not getting none. Okay? You are a part of that program. You are a part of their history. And you probably got your McDonald's bag slid across you when you signed your paperwork and every time that y'all won or whatever the case may have been, and that is good enough. You are not going to come and try to muddy the water up in here and think that you're going to get some NIL compensation now. Are you playing now? Are you a part of the team now? Are you doing what you need to do in terms of getting the team back to another championship now? No. So the answer is no. Dismissed. Get out of here. No mas. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to see it. It's over. That's it. Okay. So back when I reported on it, I just reported that they were suing and I was going to keep tabs on it. And I finally caught up with the news and the news said dismissed. You're not getting no coin. Okay. They barely got enough money to pay the athletes that are there now. Allegedly. Okay, so part of this, and again, I said it the same thing with, Reggie Bush and a few others that were trying to sue. And I knew that this was going to happen. Like one person sues and they see what's going on, like, oh, maybe we can get on it too. And everybody just starts to sue. And I felt as though that I can understand how you may want some compensation, sure. I did feel like the basketball program was just going to maybe like slide them some money and like just have them drop the lawsuit or whatever. Apparently that's not what happened. But it's also kind of like, what do you mean that you're still using our glory and our championship and our winnings currently? You were a part of that program, were you not? You won, did you not? Like, what are they supposed to do? Erase you out of the history books? Because then if they do that, then you're going to complain that they're removing your history out of their history. Which one is it? Do you want to be in the program history or do you not? Because that's where we are right now. It's no way you're saying, oh, y'all are still using me. Yeah, because you're a part of our program history. You're part of school history. You're part of NCAA history. Okay? What more do you want? You can't come back and reap money that you didn't actually help make. And when I say that, I mean currently, and even if it was the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, you have not been on the team and helping to, maybe you've helped generate revenue based off, the history and you guys getting to that amount, getting to that championship and winning and taking it all the way and you being great. And you're getting students who say, yeah, this team was once great in 1983. This is amazing. Yes, we want to go there because of this team and the history. But we have to be a little honest when we say like, okay, is that making a huge, huge deal? Is that making or breaking us? How much money is this team from 1983 really making us? And that's why I was like, maybe NC State will just look at it and maybe they'll see and maybe they'll just pass them off some cash. But I don't know. I don't know what they expected from here. I don't know if they expected to get like $10 million. I don't know if I really don't know what they really expected to happen. But at this day and age and at this point in time, no, dog, not happening. Not happening. Okay? It's not happening. Okay? And just to give you the last overview of the article that I read and articles that I pulled it from, like I said, it's going to be a recap. Members of the 1983 NC State men's basketball team sued the NCAA for using their name, image, and likeness for commercial purposes without compensation. A North Carolina judge dismissed the lawsuit in August 2025. The suit filed in June 2024 alleged that the NCAA profited from the images of the championship team and sought damages. While the lawsuit was dismissed, it occurred amid broader legal and financial shifts in college sports, including the NCAA's recent settlement over NIL compensation and the growing impact of NIL on collegiate athletics. And it says here, players were basically just like, don't keep using us or whatever. And I think that the NCAA claimed, like, you know, y'all are a part of our history, so y'all are part of the winning team. And again, it's one of those things like, well, if we take you out and we don't use you anymore, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear that you guys are excluded, because I think that's what's going to happen. The NCAA is going to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to just exclude you from everything. We're just going to exclude you. We're just going to exclude from talking about you. And then that's going to cause an even bigger issue, I feel like. But hey, they don't want their name, image, and likeliness used. They don't want to be in your commercials. They don't want to be a part of it. So just take them out. Just take them out. Okay. And the dismissal is basically saying the judge said the precedents from other cases, including the statutes of limitation on federal antitrust claims. So you waited too long. You should have sued 10 years ago. You should have sued, you know. They also have another lawsuit that has been filed by former NCC athletes alleging negligence in a sexual abuse scandal involving former sports medicine director Robert Murphy. I have not touched that yet because it has not fully developed in all of the details that I want to do. And again, I like to tell y'all, I like to state my opinion, but I like to spread the facts. I'm not going to get on here and start spreading things when I don't have the full extent of what it is. I don't have that at the moment, but again, I will double back as I did with this one when talking about the cardiac pack team who was trying to sue the NCAA. So I don't know if the NCAA just got better lawyers on their team now, and they're just like, yeah, we're going to like nip it in the bud. We're cutting it out. I don't know what happened, but they are definitely getting some things thrown out of there, and it's working in their favor. Unfortunately, you know, NC State players, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you guys can't, make any money right now. Hopefully they'll write you a check. That's all I can say. Moving on though. So the NCAA did make some rule changes. So again, I think about 3 episodes ago, I said how there were 3 players from Fresno State who were, dismissed, banned. You can't come back. You're just, you're done for. You're done. You're finished. Because they were sports betting, but they were sports betting on themselves, which is against NCAA, rules, policies, and things like that. The NCAA has now come back and they said that the collegiate athletes are now allowed to sports bet on professional sports, but it's still against the rules to sports bet on other collegiate athletics and against yourself. I mean, that part right there was just common sense. I don't know why we were acting like that part wasn't common sense, but that part is very much common sense. So, athletes, you can now bet on the NFL and the NBA and the NHL and MLB and all those other things, but you cannot bet on collegiate athletics. And that makes sense. You shouldn't be betting on anybody that's at the same level as you, even though some would argue now that because they're getting paid and they're getting treated like professional, that, college is moving into this realm of professional sports. But I still think they're trying to keep some type of, amateurism into this collegiate sports arena area. I think they just have a lot of unfolding to do. I think they have a lot of adjusting to do because I think as the NIL came in, it just kind of was like let loose and there wasn't a proper plan. And I think now they're trying to roll things back. There, again, I've reported on before how the transfer portal is going to a one opening period. So you got to get in the transfer portal when you're supposed to be in there. It's a 10-day portal. It'll be opening in January. So at the end of, most of the sports season, especially for football. So you jump in and you better hope that you get pulled out because there is no other transfer portal going to be going in. So I think they're just trying to figure out what is actually going to work the best, what is going to get us sued the least, and how can we get a wrangle on all of this? Because right now it's just a little bit like the Wild Wild West, and it's getting a little bit out of control, and we need to do something ASAP. So I think that with the lawsuits they've been facing, I think that, having to ban students and having to remove them from their collegiate careers, I think they're just starting to now sit down at the table and start to hash things out and figure it out. And some could argue that they should have been more preventative than reactive because right now I feel like they're very reactive to a lot of things that are going on. But nonetheless, it's happening now. They're not just letting it go anymore. And we shall see what comes forth from the new NCAA rules and all of the things that they're trying to implement and put in place. Before I get off this too, there has been talks and rumors that the March Madness bracket will be expanding. So it'll go from, the field of 60 plus and it'll probably go to 70 plus. I have not seen the actual confirmation of that yet, but when I do, I'll bring it to you because we always bring the facts. But I think the NCAA is just trying to figure it all. They're trying to pave a new slab of concrete to say this is what it is and this is what it's going to be. So let me know what you guys think about that. I really am, intrigued to know, what do you feel about it? What do you think about it? Is it right? Is it wrong? All those things. But those are the new rules in town. And speaking of new rules in town, we got a new man in town, Mr. Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Yes, he is currently going through recovery for his Achilles, and he said he wants to hit the court this season. I think it's a little too fast. I understand medicine has gotten better. I understand all of that, but I think it's a little too fast. But again, that's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. It doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day because it's between him, the team, and the doctors, right? But he has a new position. He has officially been, named and signed on as the very first chief basketball officer for Duke University. Duke University has also extended their head coach, John, through the 2030-31 season. So he's going to be there for some time. And they're bringing Jayson Tatum right along with them. Duke basketball has always been something that's been a staple in men's basketball. Duke's women's basketball is trying to be on the come up, but Duke's men's basketball has always had a certain standard, especially with Coach K, because I love me some Coach K, y'all. And I think they're trying to still maintain that standard. They're trying to get, I think it's kind of hard when you had a coach be in that position for so long and he created such a legacy and created such a standard. It's kind of like what Alabama's facing right now, that it's kind of hard to not be at that same standard right away. And Duke has done really, really well for themselves, right? But I think they're just trying to be better. I think they're trying to get even better. And what other way to do that but to bring in somebody who can help you elevate your program to an even higher elite level? Jayson Tatum. So he has come in as chief basketball officer. I don't know how that's going to look for as far as logistics. I don't really know. I don't really see it being a conflict of interest at all. I really don't know exactly how that's going to unfold, but obviously now that I know, I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Okay? I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Okay. But moving on. Congratulations, Jayson. Boom. So we are done with our basketball content. Amen. We're going to move on to football, college football. Now, y'all know who this is, right? Y'all know that this is the former head coach of Penn State, James Franklin. He has now been fired. They lost, I guess, too many games to unranked teams, and it was not looking good for him. And, some people are outraged, like, what? He had 11 win seasons, 13 win seasons. Like, he, has been doing really well, like a super duper winning coach. And a lot of what they say, your resume has to be built every year. It has to be refreshed every year. Should his winnings and his previous record hold up in some form, some shape? Yes, it should. But when you lose back to back to back, somebody's pissed off. Somebody was pissed off. And they felt as though they can do better. They felt as though we can do better. They said, you don't have the same standard that you used to have. You don't have the same fire that you used to have in these athletes, in the locker room. You're not winning the games that are super easy for you to win. And we look bad in our conference. So you got to go. You got to go. You won't have another season with us. And y'all know I am not a fan of coaches being fired mid-season. I'm just not a fan. I think I've been ranting and raving about it since, like going back, I think a season ago when we're talking about like the NBA coaches that were getting fired mid-season. It's just like I'm just never a super duper fan of that. And in this case, I'm not a fan of it because I felt it's hard. I understand there are losing games that they should not be losing. I get it. I understand that it's like, whoa, is Penn State in trouble? Is there a problem here? I get it. He has longevity as a coach, though. He has longevity with winning. He has longevity with respect within the organization. And that's why I'm like, why would you do that? I understood when Oklahoma State fired their coach. I understood when Oregon State let go of their coach. Although, like I said, I'm not a super duper fan of coaches being let go in the middle of the season, but those I can understand. I can understand those. This one, maybe not so much. I don't know what's going to come from that. I don't know. UAPB also fired their coach, Trent Dilfer. He's out of there. He's out of there. Out. You know, some teams like UCLA have, fired their coaches and they've turned it around and they've won some games. So maybe they feel like this will bring a new spark. They feel like this is the thing to happen and this is what's going to turn the program around. It's going to be really hard to see who they're going to get to become their next head coach. In my opinion, a lot of the head coaches that I have seen on a projected list, I don't think they're going to leave their programs to go to Penn State. I just don't. Especially some of the SEC coaches that were on that list. I don't see them leaving. I don't see Lane leaving Ole Miss. I do not see Kirby Smart leaving Georgia. I do not see Brian Kelly leaving LSU. I do not see, they even had Mike Tomlin on it. I do not see Mike Tomlin leaving Pittsburgh. So it was just some of these things. It's going to have to be some other guy from some other school. And maybe he can, turn things around. But I felt as though this was kind of like one of those fast, it was one of them fast, reactive decisions. I don't think it was a well thought out decision. And maybe it was. Maybe it was well thought out. But from the looks of it, it just happened really fast and sporadic, and somebody was just pissed off and they were ready for him to be out. So we shall see what comes from this whole Penn State change of coach, with this whole UAPB change of coach, and even, and I know we're not going into NFL right now, but even the Tennessee Titans fired their coach, Brian Callahan. And it's like, hello? Is it really the coach though? You fired Mike. You fired all these other, you fired all these other people already. You might as well give him a chance. Give him a chance. You're so quick to fire, but you're not hiring the right people. Should have just gave him a chance. I feel like he should have gotten the chance to see the season through at least. If you thought that he was going to come in there and turn that team around in one season, you shouldn't have fired Mike. Because look what he's doing with New England. See what happens when you're trigger happy? Your trigger squeeze is too fast. It's too fast. Should have kept Mike. You didn't keep Mike. Will Bill be next on the list? Will he be next on the chopping block? Okay, is Bill Belichick too toxic? That is the question at large. Is he too toxic? Is he even a winner? Does he have a legacy to hold on to? Does he have the ability to be the championship coach that he once was in New England? And I think that the question is yes and no. Here's why. UNC did not come in as a program that was at the top of the ACC in terms of football. They are not known for football. They are known for basketball. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. So acting surprised as to why this football team is not grand, it's actually like highway schizophrenia. Because if you thought that he was going to come in here and had what, 73 plus transfers, new people on the block, he's a new coach in this college space as well, trying to understand how he's going to navigate his girlfriend because she's been taking the spotlight and everything. And I do think that that's been very strategic, by the way. And then on top of that, you want him to figure it out and to turn this team around and to have them have 11 wins in the first season. No, that's unrealistic. Would it have been great? Yes. Would it have been lucky? Absolutely. I I don't get why there was this such super high expectation that this team was going to come in and be 8 wins, 9 wins. Maybe they wanted to at least get to 5 or 6. Okay, okay. But most people are like, Bill is washed up. He's not going to make it. Like, come on, y'all. There's no way you thought that this team was going to be turned around and was going to be some powerhouse team in the first year under Bill Belichick. If that's really what you thought, I'm going to send up a prayer. There's no way you thought that. It's no way. It's no way. I can't even make an excuse of why you thought that. Why? Because his name is Bill Belichick. He got to see what he got first. He didn't even know what he had. When he put him out there on the field, he didn't know what he had. What do I have? What don't I have? What am I missing? This is not like how NFL and like we're still, we're marching down in NFL weeks and they're still adding players. They're not doing that in college. What you got is what you got. You better use it and figure it out. It's no way. It's no way that we thought this. But in terms of his true toxicness, I took a screenshot of it, right? Because they were like, Bill Belichick is so toxic, right? And it says here, and again, this is just a report. This is just alleged, okay? This is alleged. An injured UNC player has reportedly been removed from all team activities. He's had his facility keys taken and was told to rehab independently because he couldn't help the team. Multiple reports are alleging that Bill Belichick's first season at UNC has been marked by harsh treatment of players, poor communication, and an increasingly toxic environment. Do we believe it, yes or no? Do we believe it, yes or no? Obviously, coming into this season, a lot of the narrative within the media was Bill Belichick is not going to be good with college kids because he can't treat them the way you do NFL kids. He's not going to know how to communicate with them. He's not going to know how to talk to them. He's not going to, know how to relate to them. He's going to be too harsh on them. So I feel like this is just double downing and double backing to what they were saying at the beginning of the season. Could some of this be true? Yes, it could be true. Could he be a little bit toxic? Yes. And I think a lot of coaches, especially like football, basketball coaches in some way, are toxic in some shape or form. That's just my opinion, though. Hell, my cheerleading coach was toxic, but I just dealt with it. I grew thick skin and I got over it. Okay. So I think there's just a certain level of toxicity in general, and it also depends on what your definition of toxic is and what your definition of cruel and harsh punishment is, because some people will say that Fran Brown making his team run suicides at the end of a game that they won was cruel and unusual, harsh punishment. That's toxic. Some people will say that that's toxic. Other people will say, well, that's just building character. That's just remaining on your fundamentals. Yeah, we won the game, but you didn't go out there and play like winners. You went out there and played like losers. So if you wanna, if you wanna win, you gotta condition and play like winners. Some people look at it that way. So I think it's just a mind thing of what do you see as toxic and what do you see as cruel and unusual. If this is true and he told them to rehab on their own, I think that part right there is too much. That's too far. That's you took it too far. And again, I don't know how the facilities are actually set up. We don't know this is actually true, but Belichick has come out plenty of times and said that he gonna deny it anyway. He want to keep his job. He not gonna say yeah, that's what I did. So that was that. The answer of denying all that stuff came out expected. And people were like, UNC might buy him out, he might get fired and everything. And Bill's like, I want to be here. I'm dedicated to this program and everything. And I really think that after this season, they're going to have to sit down with him and have a conversation. A conversation is going to have to be had, not only on the sentiment of keeping your girlfriend out of the limelight because this is so unusual for you, but also like this is how we may need to operate with players and things. And I know kids and things are sensitive. I was an RA, I was in college, and I was in trouble at some point for telling a girl that she probably needed to wear shoes in the community shower. But everybody has their own thing. And I also think that there's going to have to be a conversation of where is the money going to be coming from. Somebody somewhere has to open their coin purse. You got to open your coin purse. You have to pay to play in this day and age of college football. If you don't have a big coin purse, you're going to have the same team that you have now. So I think a lot of it's going to be coming in. I think it's going to be okay for this season coming in because I think it's been made such a big spectacle of him becoming the coach. He signed on this massive deal. I don't think that they have the money to actually, buy him out and then hire somebody else for another big contract. But I do think they're going to have some conversations. I do think that the coin purse is going to need to be bust wide open. And I do think that they're going to now see the metrics and the game plans and really just try to revamp the program. That's just my opinion on it. For you to let me know what you think about it. But that's just what I got to say there. Boom. Moving on. We only have a few more to go. We're going to talk about the AP poll coming into week 8, as I always do. I am obviously a little bit late because I always, typically I have my show on Tuesday. But these are the top contenders, the top 25 in the AP poll. And rightfully, okay, a lot of people are saying, how in the is Nebraska up on this list? I think that was the major question there. Nebraska. Obviously, there are still some Notre Dame haters and naysayers, and they don't understand how they're even up so high. How they even got the ability to skate on in there and still be within playoff contentions. A lot of people are like, it is no way. It is no way. I do think that it's wonderful that Indiana is top 3. They've been playing really good. The Aggies are up there. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with this. I think. I do think there's a team or two left off of this, but the top people are saying Georgia Tech is not getting the respect that they deserve. But when you really look at it, yes, Georgia Tech is undefeated. And they probably will remain undefeated after this week. But when you look at, Georgia Tech compared to Georgia Tech compared to Texas Tech, compared to Texas A&M, are they better than them? That's what you have to really ask yourself. Are they better than them definitively to put them higher up on this list? I think that's the question there. I love that the Sooners are still there. I think, cool. Vandy being up there just, again, it just does. It's look at Vandy. They're just doing their thing. They're doing their thing. Texas managed to get themselves back in the fold. Memphis is looking really good. Still undefeated, I believe. So a lot of these teams are really, really good within their conferences and really doing really, really good within their play. And I think that's important there. I know some people were like, Ole Miss and Alabama should have been switched because Ole Miss struggled, but it just is what it is. But I do agree that the top, in my opinion, the top 4 are pretty accurate. Top 4 are pretty good. Let me know what you think. Tell me. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? But I don't have any harsh complaints this week. This week. Come see about me next week. Maybe I will, be saying something totally different, depending on how the poll looks. Tennessee looks good up there. I'm very happy about that. And the last topic for college football. So when I went on vacation, right before I went on my birthday sabbatical vacation, there was a video that came out from former LSU player Kyren Lacy's lawyer. To run it back for a little bit for those who may not be watching, because again, this show is for everybody, the new beginners and the pros. It's for everybody. So sometimes I have to recap things that you already know about. But Kyren Lacy was like I said, a former athlete with LSU football. And there was an incident last year. Yeah, there was an incident last year where they said that he was at fault for causing a crash. And he was, speeding on the wrong side of the road, and a car had no other choice but to veer and hit another car. And then the man died. I believe he was 78 years old. He passed away due to the incidents and the injuries he succumbed from the crash. Right? And then they were like, when it came to figuring out who caused the crash, what happened, what say ye? Everyone, that was there, the witnesses and all of that, said that they didn't know him by name. I just want to put that out there too. They didn't know him by name. They just knew a green Charger. That's what they said. And I've seen the videos for it. I totally forgot to download the videos, but they said the green Charger just sped by and he was the cause of this collision. So once they figured it out and they figured out who was the green Charger, they got the license plate. One of the witnesses allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because again, I'm not reading the actual article word for word. But the witness had a picture of the license plate or had the license plate number, and that's how the police were able to connect Lacy to this accident. So boom, during the process is during an investigation, they're going to arrest him, and in April, he was on he was doing a high-speed chase with the police at the time, and he had a pew pew. He took his life and also crashed and died by suicide. So that was a thing. But the investigation did not stop. It continued because at the end of the day, it is a vehicular, some people say homicide, manslaughter, whatever. It's a vehicular crash, and it has to be investigated because that's what they do, right? So the video right before I went on vacation came out, and it was like Lacy was innocent. I've seen it everywhere, and I even retweeted some of the things that I saw on Twitter because again, I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember this case. I remember briefly talking about it, but not enough. So I'm just reposting. Innocent, innocent, innocent. His lawyer came out and gave us the version that he wanted us to see for the video. And everybody was like, he was 72 yards away. It was no way he was the cause of that accident. It's no way that he was involved. It's no way that it was, that it was his fault. The police were trying to coerce, the witnesses, and they were trying to, pin it on him because he was a black athlete and all these other things. And then I come back off of vacation and it's like, wait a minute, he actually was not innocent. More footage have come out from the investigation. The investigation was not complete when that video was released. The authorities were still doing their work, and this is the full video. This is the body cam footage from those officers that day, and this is actually what happened and why they originally pinned the crime on him. So it's a lot to unfold here, right? So boom, like I said, I watched the videos, and I've also watched a lot of other commentators, especially policemen, who broke it down for me to physically understand what I was watching, what I was seeing. Because from the naked eye, if you don't really know what you're watching, you're like, oh yeah, we can see him flying down the street, and he slams on brakes, and then you hear a crash in the background. What I didn't know originally was that he was driving down the wrong side of the road because he was passing a car going really, really fast down that street. And because he was in the wrong lane, the car that was coming had no other choice but to skirt and cause the crash. So there was a lot of misreports going out that he collided with the vehicles or that he did a hit and run and all that stuff. That's not what happened. He was being charged with causing an accident that led to death. Okay, so that is what it was. That was the charge. So everybody that had the think pieces talking about, oh, it was a hit and run. No one ever said that he hit anyone. They said he caused the crash. And then when you see the video of the witnesses, as the police are walking up, and I do want to say this too, the police were not trying to coerce anybody. They weren't. They weren't, guys. I seen the video. I watched it multiple times, and I got the full thing. And as a person who has been in a hit and run accident and who has had this situation happen to them in some way, I'm lucky to be alive, thank the Lord. I understand what was going on, right? They weren't trying to get him because he was a black man. So I think that we should stop with that narrative. Then that narrative is kind of disgusting, okay? The police were called to the scene. They don't really know what's happening. They have to ask the witnesses. That's what they do. They pull up and ask what happened. There were many witnesses out there who said the green Charger. They didn't know they didn't know his name. They didn't know what was going on. They said the green Charger sped off and left the scene, but he's the cause for this accident. There's video footage of it. Go look at it. Go check it out. Okay? So not only one person, there was multiple people that were there who explained the accident and said that this is what happened. There's another video where it's showing the body cam footage with the officers talking to the young man who was filling out I don't know if it was another officer. I don't know if it was a person as, one of the witnesses. It sounded like it was, one of the witnesses who was basically doing their witness statement, because you have to do a witness statement when you witness a crime or an accident, right? So he's just saying to them, remember that you need to put all the details in. Remember, you just told me that you also slammed on brakes and whatever happened, So he's just telling him what happened and reminding him what to put in the report. Because the more that is in that report and more that is in that narrative, the better off it is for the investigation. Boom. So I don't think that was a part of coercion at all. I think that was just like, you need to remember all the things that you tell me. Don't leave out anything. You need to make sure it's as detailed as possible for the report, whoever he was talking to, right? So boom. And it's very unfortunate. This whole situation was so very unfortunate. I wish that he was still here to be able to just say, like, I'm going to just go to court. It wasn't malicious. Yes, I did something wrong, and I'm so apologetic for it. And, hope that they just take it easy on me. I didn't have a criminal record. I do wish that we were here to see it unfold and for this young man to still be able to have a career. I mean, I'm not comparing the two at all, but I'm saying, like, Jalen Carter got in trouble right before the NFL draft. He cleared it up. He admitted his wrong. He did what he had to do. And now he has an amazing career with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I felt like this could have probably been maybe not the same, but maybe it wouldn't have been as bad as maybe he was thinking. And it just sucks. It just sucks, because then I see all these videos where commentators now have to come back and they're having to apologize for not putting out the full facts, for not putting out, all of the evidence, for not allowing the investigation to continue. Because when there's an open and active investigation, all the pieces are not going to make sense to you right away. Whatever you see, one thing is going to say one thing, your brain is going to say something else, the report's going to say something else. You have to let the investigation finish, which is why I didn't say anything. I zipped the lips. Yes, I retweeted some things, but I didn't say anything. Because at the end of the day, I still knew there was an active investigation, because the lawyer didn't come out and say the investigation was complete. The lawyer just came out and was like, he was innocent. I told him that I had him. If you really had him, you should have told him it's going to be all right. We're going to get you out of this. Get him into some therapy or something, like help him navigate that, because he's young and his life was literally crumbling before his eyes. Right? Just say, hey, you're going to admit to the guilt. You're going to admit to passing that car and driving in the wrong lane. You're going to apologize to these families. And we're going to do our very best to make sure you have the best outcome from this situation. And again, it's unfortunate and it sucks sometimes. And as you all can see, how things can be misconstrued in the media without proper evidence to back it up. So unfortunately, it looks like he was not innocent. Still very unfortunate situation for his family, for the people that are involved in the crash. But spreading your opinion is never something that we should do, especially from a journalistic aspect of any point, any shape or form. So that's just what I have to say on that. There's plenty of videos, and y'all might be mad at me for saying this, but I think that Officer Tatum did a really, really good job of breaking it down and really talking about it again, who has been in situations like that. So, take the blinders off for a second. If you want to see a really good breakdown and see video footage of it and fast and slow and breaking it down in terms, in layman's terms to really help you understand it. If I didn't do a really good job here, check that video out. It's actually just a actual open video, and it says that he was not, the title it's like he was not innocent or something like that. So yeah, okay, I know that was a lot and that was a mouthful, but I like to, again, I gotta spread the facts and not my opinion. So boom, we had to talk about it. Moving on though, these topics are gonna be really quick. Mahomie. Actually, I'm gonna throw both of them up here. Because I think that at this point in time, we're seeing like a shift. I can actually put a few other quarterbacks up here, to be honest with y'all. I could probably put Lamar up here, but Lamar's injured, so we're not gonna talk about Lamar. But for the longest time, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have been like top creme de la creme of the QB pool, along with a few others. I'm not taking anything away from the others either. I'm talking about these two right now. Josh Allen and the Bills just lost to the Falcons 24-14. Hello? What's going on? Right? Kansas City did win, but they still are not, they're not Kansas City. They're not the Kansas City Chiefs that we have seen over the past few years. They're just not, right? And it's like, okay, is it time to panic now? Is it time to panic? Is it time to panic? I know some people was like, football really kicks in, in the next month or two after Thanksgiving. That's when things really start to heat up. Like, yeah, 3-3 is okay and it's fine, they still can make it all the way. But it's just like, to me, it's a little shocking when you're losing to teams that you absolutely positively would not usually lose to them, and you should not be losing to them, and they are not absolutely positively super duper good high contender teams. That's no tea, no shade compared to, the Falcons or whatever, but I feel like the Falcons are also on a roller coaster, because sometimes they look great and then they look horrible, like when they played against the Panthers and they looked great against the Bills. It's like, okay, so this is doing too much. Right? And you just have teams that you expect to be great all the time. And I think at this point, kind of get spoiled. Like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs are going to be great. They're going to be fine. Like, for a minute, I was like, don't panic. Don't panic yet. And now I'm like, I think we might have to panic. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're like, do we have to panic or not? I'm kind of about to sound the alarm, right? Josh Allen, I don't know, dude. I feel like I gotta talk about it, because when he was playing really, really good, I was ranting and raving about him. And now he got me eating my words. And I don't like that. I don't like eating my words. Okay? The only person right now who's holding tight to my words right now is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the only one who's not letting me down. Oh, and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is doing pretty good. Him and the Bears beat the Commanders by 1 point on Monday Night Football. So yeah. But is it time to panic? Is it time to panic? I don't know. I'm going to give them 2 more weeks. I'm going to give them 2 more weeks to see what they do. For me, though, the Chiefs have too many pieces on the offense for them to not be working and for them to not be like playing lights out. They played great against the Lions. I know some people are like, there were some things that wasn't caught, and they got into that spat and that fire at the end, and Branch is now suspended for a game or whatever. And Patrick Mahomes was taunting him, and Juju Smith-Schuster was taunting him, and like, it's football. Shut the F up. It's football. Y'all are soft. Soft. And y'all also are very hypocritical. It's hypocritical. Because at one moment, other players on the teams can taunt and it'll be totally fine. Y'all didn't care that Jalen Carter was spitting on people. And y'all said that was fine. That's fine. Get out of here. Y'all are hypocritical. You shouldn't do taunting. Shut up. It's football. You gotta talk a little trash, talk a little smack. I mean, come on. If roles were reversed, I do feel like if the Lions would have won, I don't think that situation would have happened. I don't think it would have been no fight. I don't think so. And at the end of the day, you want to talk trash. Y'all all talk trash. Hell, some of the players put up memes of Patrick Mahomes smiling and Dan Campbell standing behind him staring him down. And, that was like a trolling moment. So why are we suddenly super soft and ultra like, you shouldn't do that when it's players that y'all actually don't like? Y'all pick and choose when you wanna say what's right and what's wrong. If it's either it's all gonna be wrong or it's all gonna be right. Because there's no level of taunting, in my opinion, unless you're talking about somebody's mama. I mean, you're talking about somebody's mama. It's on site, right? That's understandable. Or you spit, right? Okay? But the other trash talk is like, it's football. They are big, strong men. They are going to be okay. Their feelings cannot be that hurt. Cannot be. And of course, it was like, well, the refs didn't see this. The ref wasn't doing that. Ref was like, don't get on here acting innocent either. Like you weren't doing nothing in return. Okay? They all do stuff. You hear it on mic'd up. You hear it. Why be acting like this stuff don't happen? But anyway, I'm going to give them 2 more weeks. And we're going to see what happens. If it's time for me to panic, let me know. Let me know if it's time for me to panic. Okay? Y'all know I'm a fan of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, so ain't nothing that y'all can do to make me not a fan. Ain't nothing that y'all can do to take away. None of that. So don't even try it. Don't even try it. Okay, and we are going to move on to the Cleveland Browns and their troubles. They still have troubles. So earlier in the year, I posted this graphic saying how the Cleveland Browns had a stacked quarterback room, as you all know, and they did get rid of Kenny Pickett. They rolled his ass up out of there. Joe Flacco, just recently, they rolled his ass on out to the Bengals, which is kind of confusing because why would you send, and remember I said, they were not going to send Shador to a division rival, another team in their division, but they were like, well, we'll send Joe. We'll send Joe. Joe, pack it up. You out of here. We're shipping you out, right? You got to go, Unc. Okay. So, Dylan Gabriel is still QB1. Shador, unofficially, whatever, looking like QB2. Deshaun is not back yet. He's still recovering and whatever else that he got going on, whatever else that he is doing, right? But the Cleveland Browns are paying 8 quarterbacks. 8. That's why they got no money to do nothing else. That's why they can't add nothing else. That's why they can't do nothing. Paying too many people. Okay? Paying too many people. Okay, so let's see. Let me go back. I wrote down an article. I screenshot the article. Oh shoot, it's on the computer. I'm like, I know I had it up here because I had the prices because I used to wear glasses way back in the day. So I be having to squint and see some things. What are you? Boom. So the Browns are currently paying 8 quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson is at $35.9 million. Jameis Winston is at $2.2 million. They should have traded back and got his ass, put it as a work. Dylan Gabriel is at $1.1 million. Joe Flacco is at $999K. Weird numbers there. Shador is at $955K. Bailey Zapp is at $315K. I don't know why I'm not saying the numbers. I'm just putting it out there. $315K, $955K for Shador, $999K for Joe Flacco. Then you have Dorian Thompson-Robertson. He's at $171K. And then Kenny Pickett is getting, he's getting the bare minimum. He's getting the minimum wage salary, and he's getting paid $8K. So this is why they're having troubles here. Why you have 8 quarterbacks on roster that you're paying and you're losing bad, horrifically. I think that's insane. Either somebody over there does not know how to properly negotiate these contracts, or what. Because who is Bailey? Who is Dorian? What is going on here? What is going on? What is going on? I feel like the Browns are just, they can't get it together. And I often don't brag about the con man, Omar Khan, over there at the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I do think that he is good at negotiating when he, getting Russell and getting Justin, and literally just basically nearly getting them for free, right? Storing that revenue and dispersing it. But they're also very stingy. Pittsburgh is a very stingy franchise. And the Browns seem to have money. They got money. They got money to play around with. They got money to just throw away with. Clearly, 8 quarterbacks. But I just feel like if they were better at negotiating and figuring things out, and putting the money where their mouth should actually be, I don't think that we would have seen this revolve. They really messed up by giving Deshaun Watson all that money. They really messed up there. That's where I feel like it started to all go downhill. That's just my opinion, though. So hopefully they'll cash out on some of these contracts. They'll get some money from somewhere, and they'll start to add pieces. Hopefully they'll figure out what the quarterback situation is. Is Dylan Gabriel the answer for Cleveland? Is he their longevity quarterback? I personally don't think so. But if he is going to be your long-term option, then what are you going to do? Are you going to also try to keep Shador for as long as possible? I don't really know. I don't really know what they plan to do there. I do just think that they just need to get it together. They need to get a new negotiator up in there, a new contract signer, a new contract somebody. They need to get that part figured out, because the Browns are going down. They got money though. So them being a poor franchise, that ain't it. Nope, that ain't it. They got money. They got money, honey. Yeah. Okay. Last topic on the list, because I got to get off here, y'all. I'm gonna be late to the show. But I'm not gonna be talking either. I should have saved my tea for over there. But there has been so much backlash with Bad Bunny. And I know a lot of people are like, it's just the Republicans. It's just the MAGA. It's just these people, or they don't. No, it's not. It's actually more than that. There's a lot of people who didn't understand, who don't understand why Bad Bunny has been chosen when he doesn't have any like English speaking songs. He's a Latin artist, as you all know, right? Yes, he does great things for streaming. Yes, he's a great artist. Yes, Grammy award winning. Yes, yes, yes. All those things. Yes, right? Yes, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. Okay. Yes, we understand that. But I could also understand how people are like, what? Some people are saying that he was selected to continue to try to push a political agenda, and how the NFL has really started to intertwine themselves with the political agenda. And, whatever side they choose to be on is like, this is what they're really pushing here. And they're not really understanding why this even has to get to that point. For a long time, yes, there is politics in sports, of course, but now it's more prominent. Now you see it way more often than some would like to see it. And I can understand when people, like, because I said it, I said, I don't really know that many Bad Bunny songs. So I'm going to have to try to figure something out, learn something or something. I know two songs, actually. Did I say that before? I know two songs, right? I know Mia because Drake's on it. That's why I know it. I don't, and the other song, um, I knew it. I knew the song before I said it. But anyway, I know the other song. I don't know any of the lyrics though. So if I know the beat and all that, right? So yeah, there's been some people saying they're going to boycott the halftime show. There's some people that are like, I don't even care about the halftime show. We are going to lock and reload on our refreshments, our liquor. We using the bathroom during this time. We might turn to something else. We may turn the volume down to turn up some music so we can do our own little party during the halftime. So there are some people who actually don't care, right? And I think that trying to pin it on one side politically, or one side doesn't care, or one side cares more than the other, I think that's just I think that's childish and novelist. I think that's just inappropriate. That's just my opinion. Because if you don't like him as an artist, you don't like him as an artist. It shouldn't have anything to do with that. Will there be some people politically that don't like it? Yes. And who cares? Right? Who cares? We're always trying to take a narrative and stretch it and spin it, reverse it and flip it. For what? It doesn't matter. If people don't like him, they don't like him. It doesn't matter what side of the box you're on. If you don't like him, you don't like him. If you feel as though that you're not going to know any of his songs because his songs are not in English, you got a valid point. Why are we trying to take the validity from people's points? Some people feel like it should be a more, from the States artist. Okay, cool. You can think that and you can feel that. Why is it that when one person feels something and you don't agree with what they feel, you then tell them that they cannot have that feeling or they cannot feel that way? But when it's you and you feel some type of way, you would, shred things apart if someone tells you that you can't think that way or you can't feel that way. The double standards and hypocrisy is crazy to me. And y'all know I call it out on the show all the time because it don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any true sense as to why we are sitting here doing that. If you don't like it, if you don't like the choice, you just don't like the choice. I guarantee you though, the other choices in the previous years, people didn't like those either. People had the same thing to say about other shows in the past. But no, right now we're at this war. We feel as though that we have to continuously put things on a political platform, and now it's voiced about this. It's only political. There's only one side of the political spectrum that doesn't like it. No, there's people who just don't like it, and that's okay. That's okay. I feel like the NFL is trying to, bring in a different audience. I feel like they did the same thing when it was J-Lo and Shakira, trying to, bring in a different different viewership and things like that. There are going to be some people who only tune in to halftime. As people are tuning out, there are going to be people tuning in to see him. His fans, his crowd, his people are going to tune in to watch him because it ain't no way they're going to be there. And that whole thing about ICE is stupid. It's stupid as hell. Stupid as hell, in my opinion. Okay? If you're illegal, then you shouldn't be out there anyway. So I don't even know why. What are we talking about? What is we talking about? I don't get it. Okay? So his people will be tuning in, and the people who don't like it will be tuning out. That's it. That's all. Okay? But he is getting a lot of backlash. Not he himself, but just the pick in general. The pick is getting a lot of backlash because people just don't understand why. People don't understand it. And that's okay. All right? We can agree to disagree. We don't have to like the same thing. We don't have to want the same thing. When I seen the choice, I was like, what? I said that to myself. What is this? And I said, okay, well, that's cool. I watched Super Bowl halftime show. The last one I watched was Usher. That's the last one I watched. The other one I was working. I didn't get to watch it. It wasn't super important for me to watch it anyway. Because at that point in time, my people was starting to calm it down, and I got to sit and rest up a little bit. I got to eat a little snack. I got to get a little drink. Yeah, so I wasn't worried about it. And this year I'll probably be working it as well. I'm not gonna be worried about it. So I am a person that's like, I don't know about the pick. I don't really like it that much, but I don't care. If I don't like something, I don't have to watch. It's that simple. It's that simple, right? Okay. Anyway, okay. Boo boo shaboo. And we are finally done. We wrap this thing up in an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Those of you who dropped in, those of you that dropped out, I appreciate it. I love you nonetheless. Please make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports. Make sure you are subscribing. I am one subscriber away from 400 subscribers. Oh my God. Yes, it is a big deal to me. It is a super duper duper big deal to me because I started this account this year with like 0. So super big and super happy about it. Please make sure you're subscribing to support. Please go to pglovesports.com and get your pretty merch. I am now taking custom orders. So if you want something customized, like a pretty top or something, or you want some type of male hoodie or something, I'm going to be opening up an Etsy shop actually. So that's going to be dropping soon. But please make sure you are, you can always send me an email, slide in my DM or whatever. Media at pglovesports.org or thedesirella@gmail.com. If you want something that's customized, you want something that's really specific that you maybe don't see online, please make sure you're subscribing to the Playmakers Press. It will be coming out fresh, hot, and popping next week on Tuesday. It comes out every Tuesday. It is free. All I need is your email address, and you will get that newspaper. I'm going to say newspaper delivered to your email every Tuesday for free. It is free. If you want to keep up on topics to see what I'm doing and where I'm at and get my opinions on certain things, that is the place to do it. I will see you guys tomorrow for it's called Thursday Throwdown. Thursday Throwdown. I'm back. I'm in full force. I love you guys for always watching, tuning, and supporting me in every which way. And continue to be as lovely and as beautiful as you are. And I will see you guys on the next